Okay, we're here on May 26, 2020. We're live streaming our CPS permanency review docket, or part of it, where submissions were not sent to the court, or where the parties wanted to appear via Zoom rather than submit a report. And we're also taking care of a few adjudications and dispositions in juvenile matters this afternoon. And so the first case we'll call is 323-111-877-19. In the interest of baby boy, I have Mr. Berger present on behalf of the child. The district attorney's office, the ADA, Harold did submit a report to the court instead of appearing. And Attorney Kelly Hughes, who is representing the potential adoptive family. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And did both of you get a copy of Ms. Harold's report to the court?
Judge, I did not.
Okay, so it looks like she copied you on an email at 12:54 p.m. today. So it was just a little while ago, so maybe you didn't see it. And then I don't see that you were copied, Ms. Hughes. So Mr. Berger, if you want to share that with her.
Right.
Via email. Okay. So her report indicates that the baby is doing very well, and he's in an adoption motivated foster home. And I assume those are your clients, right, Ms. Hughes?
That is correct, Your Honor. And I would not receive notice of this except Mr. Berger invited me because I'm not a party to the underlying CPS case, but they're calling him Charlie, and he's doing well.
Okay, good. Well, you're entitled to be here anyway, so, let's see. Good. So no issues.
That's correct, Judge.
Oh, I remember this one. And so I think once these restrictions are all lifted and stuff, this birth certificate issue should be resolved pretty quickly. Is that what's holding it up?
Yes, Judge. I think Kaylee could speak to that better. I did a video visit with the prospective adoptive parents, and Charlie's looking fantastic. He weighs 20 pounds. He's enormous. It couldn't be better. The reason why I didn't file a written report was that it was kind of complicated to figure out why this birth certificate couldn't be issued. And what I think we figured out was that he was given the name Baby Moses at the hospital, and then CPS called him Baby Boy. And I think that has fouled up the birth certificate.
Okay. And so that should be ironed out here pretty soon. Is that right?
I don't know, Your Honor. I have two Baby Moses cases, and both of them, the hospital and or CPS messed up on the birth certificate. One has been pending for about 7 months post-termination. I process birth certificates, on behalf of my adoptive clients, and it takes about, on a good situation, 5 months. And CPS is pushing me on both of my Baby Moses cases to proceed with the adoption, which means that the child has no proof of birth, therefore would never have a birth certificate.
Yeah, I don't think that that's something that the court would want to do, whichever court you're going into.
Right.
So is there any reason why CPS could not amend the pleadings to indicate the name that the hospital has for the baby?
I don't believe so. They have to backdate the birth certificate to be a Baby Moses, and the pleadings are still filed under Baby Boy. Is that correct? That
yes.
You have?
Yes.
That's what
they may have to do a non-pro-tunc on that, but that's up to their legal department.
Yeah, so I kind of wish they were on, but maybe Mr. Berger, if you could maybe approach that subject with them, see if they couldn't just take care of the case caption somehow.
Yes, Judge.
And then maybe that would be helpful.
It would, and I have the report from Jeanette. It just showed up.
Okay.
So I will forward that to Kelly.
Okay. All right. And it looks like, I think that everything else has been trust. So if it's not done by the time we have our next permanency hearing, I would like to meet this little fella. So
I'll let them know.
I'll put that in the order. Okay. Otherwise, that's it. Anything else that the child needs, Mr. Berger?
No, Judge, it couldn't be better. Wonderful foster parents, great environment, no concerns.
Good. All right. Well, thank you both very much.
Thank you, Judge.
Judge, am I excused on the next case?
Yes, I believe this was all you had because the other one you did submit a report on. So yes,
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yep. Hopefully this week is the last time I ever have to write pandemic language into orders.
Yes. Oh. Oh, Lord.
Zoom updated and they now have these weird little sounds. Their sounds are a lot different. So forgive me if I seem disturbed because that's as of this morning, they changed their sounds. Deputy Armstead, could you put that in the jacket of that one? Thank you. Oh wait, did I pull that? I think I have it. Okay, never mind. Let me make my docket entry real fast. Just put that for Stephanie, I guess. Yeah, thank you. Okay, let me see here. So I think everybody looks like, oh, we don't have a child here. We don't have Mr. Gutierrez back in juvenile. So let me take a look at what was been submitted. I've got a waiver, stipulation of evidence, possession and disposition agreement, dates disclosure, things provided to respondent, social history, which I will put over here and not look at until. I don't know anything about that. I only have Gutierrez on my docket. Are you talking about juveniles? The child's in detention?
No, the kid is not in detention. CPS currently.
Okay, what are they asking me?
Do you want the kids on Zoom? Because according to Ms. Robin last review, you said you wanted the kids on Zoom.
If that's what I said, then that's
You wanted
probably.
them to appear.
Oh no, we're not having kids appear during this time unless they really want to.
Oh. No, unless the kids really want to.
Or their attorney needs me to. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Okay. I was confused. I thought you were talking the detention in the back.
That's okay. What's the kid we need from the back?
Gutierrez, Benito Gutierrez.
Oh yeah, that was definitely calling while I was taking up the phone to follow that.
Okay, so it looks like I have duplicates in the file, gentlemen. I have, looks like Mr. Newman brought me copies Okay, got to unmute ya. Hold on.
There we
Okay. So you brought me copies, Mr. Newman?
I believe I brought you the original of
Okay.
the stipulation agreement, and then
Okay.
I do think I handed at least a copy or two.
Okay, so I just want to make sure I have. And then, Mr. Richmond, you brought me your exhibit number
Right.
1 for the disposition, right?
I brought you the copies that what looked to be originals of the waiver of hearing stipulation of evidence that Mr. Newman gave me.
Okay,
And the discovery manifest, and I gave you petitioner's exhibit 1, which is for disposition, which is the social history.
yep. So I have that. Okay, so it does look like I have photocopies, and then I have the originals. I just want to make sure there was nothing that had been changed. Okay. Okay. Child should be joining us anytime.
And Judge, I did want to note for the court that the petition does allege an aggravated robbery, but we are going to be stipulating to a lesser included offense of robbery.
Okay. And it's the stip is 2 years of probation, is that correct?
That's correct, Judge.
Okay. And then I see a proposed order to submit to a DNA sample in the file. Mr. Richmond, do you know anything about that?
I did not submit that, but I imagine probably an appropriate case for that.
Well, if he's not, it's listing the original offense, I think, on it. And so,
Hmm.
okay, so we are on the record now in cause number 323-113-57420. In the interest of Gutierrez, it's May 26, 2020. This was set for an adjudication and disposition hearing this morning, but parties agreed to return to court this afternoon to handle that. And present on behalf of the state is Mr. Mark Rickman. Is it Rickman or Richmond, sir?
Richman.
Richmond, okay. And then present on behalf of the respondent is Brian Newman, and the respondent is also present here on the Zoom, as well as respondent's mother and his PO, Ms. Aguirre. Is that correct? Okay. I see nods. Okay, Mr. Gutierrez, you were served a copy of the petition filed by the state against you on April 29th, 2020 at 15:41 p.m. And it was served to you here on Kimbo, at Kimbo. Has been filed, the return of service has been filed with the court since April 30th of this year. Mr. Gutierrez, could you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth in this cause of action today, so help you God?
Am I supposed to repeat that?
I'm asking you a question. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth in this cause of action today, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. You can put your hand down. Okay, now the next question I have to ask you, are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, where were you born?
Fort Worth, Texas.
Okay. Now you understand that in the original petition, you have been charged with an offense that if it was committed by an adult would constitute a crime. However, since you are not an adult, it is considered a delinquent act. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and do you understand that the delinquent conduct that they indicate that you were involved with is punishable by imprisonment or confinement in jail?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, you know that you have the privilege against self-incrimination. In other words, you don't have to make any statements that would incriminate yourself, okay? You have a right to a trial where you get to call in witnesses, the state will call in witnesses, and you get to ask questions of your witnesses and also ask questions of the state's witnesses, okay? And then the state at the trial would have to prove that the acts that they allege against you are true, okay? And that that you are delinquent, and they would have to show that beyond a reasonable doubt. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you have a right to a trial by jury also. And so do you know what a jury is?
No, ma'am.
Okay, a jury is when they are eligible citizens in Tarrant County are summoned in by the court clerk, and the attorneys, both your attorney and the state, will appear in court with you, and then the jury is brought in to be selected by the attorneys, and that jury decides whether or not those acts that you allegedly committed were true, okay? And if the court should find you delinquent. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you have a right to an attorney, and do you see your attorney, Mr. Newman, is here with you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and in fact, you had a chance to talk with him today for a while about this, didn't you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, you know that you're here because it appears to me that they have reached an agreement regarding the petition alleged against you, and that the court is not required to accept this agreement. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
But if I decide after hearing everything that I don't want to accept your agreement, I have to let you know that, and I will, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Now, Mom, could you please move up closer to the computer and raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth in this cause of action today, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Now, what is your full name, ma'am?
My name is Betty Avelar.
Betty Avelar. Can you spell your
Avelar.
last name, please?
Avelar. Avelar.
Avelar. Okay, thank you, Miss Avelar. Okay, and are you his mother?
Grandmother.
You're his grandmother. Okay. Now, do you have legal custody of him, so to speak? Are you his managing conservator?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And was there a court that granted you that?
I got some papers that they got when I first came over here. They got a copy of that.
Okay. Mr. Newman, are you aware of court orders that make grandma his conservator?
I've not seen the court orders, but that was my understanding that it was a court-ordered relationship.
Okay. Mr. Richmond, do you have that?
Let me check and see if I have anything.
And Ms. Avilar, were those court orders signed by a judge downtown here in Fort Worth, or were they done in this courthouse? Do you know?
No, I think it was downtown.
Okay.
Your Honor, if I may, I believe the document that Ms. Avilar is referring to is a temporary guardianship agreement that she provided to me at the start when he first was detained.
Okay. And when was that executed or entered?
December 5th of 2013.
Okay. And do we know if that is still a valid order?
Excuse me?
I'm asking if it's still a valid order, if it's a temporary guardianship and it was dated for 7 years ago.
I would note looking at the document, it says for as long as necessary, but I don't have any further information. I don't know if if Ms. Avilar has any further information about whether it's been revoked.
Okay.
Your Honor, on the duration, it does not, it's blank where it says the power of attorney ends on the following date.
Okay. Can you provide the court the cause number on that, Ms. Aguirre?
Judge, from the description, it does not sound like a court document, but I think the court could proceed under section 5111 of the Family Code to appoint the grandmother as a guardian ad litem for the purposes of this proceeding.
And so it's not a court document, is that what she's saying?
It sounds like this was an agreement between one or both of the parents and the grandmother,
Okay.
based on the title of it. And so I'm sure it's notarized and all that, but I think if the court has any concerns, we could alleviate that by appointing her as a temporary guardian ad litem for these purposes.
And is it a notarized document, Ms. Aguirre?
Yes, Your Honor, it is notarized.
And it's signed by the mothers of the child?
Yes.
Okay. And additionally, the court will appoint Ms. Avilar, the child's guardian ad litem for the purposes of this hearing. Okay. Mr. Newman, is there any reason why your client would not understand the nature of these proceedings today?
I know of no reason, Judge.
Okay, and are you saying that he's fit to proceed?
In my assessment, yes.
Okay, all right. And so, Mr. Gutierrez, Benito, okay? You're here because the state has filed a petition against you. And the petition, although this is not what you're agreeing to yet, I have to tell you what the petition says, okay? Again, it alleges that you have engaged in delinquent conduct that if committed by an adult would constitute a crime in the state of Texas, okay? It says specifically in paragraph 1 that you have engaged in delinquent conduct and that you have violated a law of the state of Texas punishable by imprisonment or by confinement in jail, specifically violating section 29.03 of the Texas Penal Code on or about the 9th day of April 2020 in Tarrant County, Texas, that you intentionally or knowingly, while in the course of committing theft of property and with intent to obtain or maintain control of said property, threatened or placed Pedro Sanchez Ortiz in fear of imminent bodily injury or death, and that you used or exhibited a deadly weapon, namely a BB gun, okay? It further alleges that the name and residence of you, of your guardian is Betty Avalar at 2300 Effingham Avenue of Fort Worth, 76164, and that she is the one having control and custody of you as well, at the same address. The state in their petition was asking for all restitution to be paid, that you be ordered to pay the fee for your court-appointed attorney, court costs of $20, and a reasonable sum to be paid by your guardian if you are placed outside of the home on probation or committed to TJJD, and a probation fee of not more than $15 a month if you're placed on probation. And then restitution for any treatment programs ordered by the court, including but not limited to cost associated with electronic monitoring. They're also asking for, if you are adjudicated of a felony, that a DNA sample be submitted, and a $50 fee to go with that, or if you go to TJJD, or $34 if not. And then lastly, they are wanting a $50 juvenile delinquency prevention fee. Okay. Do you understand what you are charged with, Mr. Gutierrez?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And does the state waive opening?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, and Mr. Newman?
We waive opening, Judge.
Okay, and so Mr. Gutierrez, if you can see this here, I have, it's hard to see through the screen, this waiver of a hearing before a district judge. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Where you're agreeing to waive the right to have Judge Kim have your hearing rather than myself. Do you understand that?
Excuse me?
Do you understand that? You're waiving the right to have Judge Kim conduct this hearing rather than myself. And you're gonna go ahead and let me do it today, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and Mr. Newman did review this document with you, didn't he?
Yes, ma'am.
And you signed it also?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And I also have here a stipulation of evidence and a waiver of trial by jury. I know it's kind of blurry and hard to see, but does this look familiar to you?
Yes, ma'am.
And you did review this today with Mr. Newman as well, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you did sign this also, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Mr. Newman, I think this is your handwriting.
It is, Judge.
Okay, subject to withdraw this stipulation of evidence if the court rejects a disposition agreement. Is that what that says?
Yes, Judge.
And as well, same thing under his waiver of trial by jury, it looks like. Okay.
Yes, Judge.
Okay, thank you.
I need to buy a stamp, so.
Okay, let's see. Okay, and so then I have your stipulation of evidence, and I know that you did review this with your attorney also, right, Mr. Gutierrez?
Yes, ma'am.
Where it indicates everything that you're agreeing to, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you signed that also?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and so I'm just going to make sure that we have that. Well, Ms. Avilar is here, and Ms. Avilar, you live at 2300 Effingham Avenue?
What was 2300?
Yes,
Is that what you said?
yes. That's your address number, correct?
2322 is my address.
It's 2322?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
And Judge, I think on the stipulation agreement, that's listed as the apartment number.
Yes, it's the same part.
Oh, it is, yes. Well, 2323 is the apartment number.
2322 is the
23.
apartment number. It's the same. It's the apartment number.
Okay. I'm making that correction. That's the only correction I'm making, okay? So
No
far.
objection.
Okay.
No objection. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. And you are the grandmother and guardian of Mr. Gutierrez, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And he is 14 years old, born on April 21st, 2006?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you are the one that has custody and control of him, is
Yes.
that correct?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
And so, Mr. Gutierrez, you are consenting to the stipulation of evidence, and you know that by doing that, you are waiving the appearance of witnesses, the right to confront witnesses and cross-examine them, as we talked about. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you're waiving a right to a trial and the right to a trial by jury. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and that you also consent to the introduction of testimony in this forum here today by affidavits, written statements of witnesses, or other documentary evidence, okay? Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so you are waiving your federal and state constitutional rights against self-incrimination, and because I have sworn you in, and you are confessing to the following facts and agree and stipulate that these facts are true, correct, and constitute all of the evidence. Okay, so listen up. So you were born on April 21st, 2006. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And you live in Tarrant County, Texas.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then in paragraph 2 here on your stipulation, it says that on or about the 9th day of April in 2020, Tarrant County, Texas, that you did intentionally or knowingly, while in the course of committing theft of property and with the intent to obtain or maintain control of said property, threaten or place Pedro Sanchez Ortiz in fear of imminent bodily injury or death. Is that true?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And that such a conduct is a second-degree felony and violates a penal law of the state of Texas, punishable by imprisonment or confinement in jail, specifically 29.02 of the Texas Penal Code, and is delinquent conduct as defined in section 5103A of the Texas Family Code. Is that true?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you also further agree and stipulate that you are a child in need of rehabilitation, or that the protection of the public requires that a disposition in your case be made. Is that true?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you further agree to a disposition of 2 years of probation, substance abuse evaluation and treatment, to attend any mental health appointments as scheduled and take any prescribed medications, to participate in and successfully complete FPP, have no contact with Pedro Sanchez Ortiz, and Danielle Zavala. Well, I'm going to put an or there. And that you pay $100 in restitution to Pedro Sanchez Ortiz, joint and several, with co-respondent Danielle Zavala. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and so Mr. Newman and Mr. Richmond, I did make that change there to read Pedro Sanchez Ortiz or Danielle Zavala. Is that still in agreement?
Yes, Judge.
That's fine, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so Mr. Gutierrez, everything I just said to you, are you agreeing that it's true because it is true?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, are you saying that it's true for any other reason other than that it's true?
No, ma'am. It's true.
Did anybody coerce you into making this agreement?
No, ma'am.
Did anyone threaten you into making this agreement?
No, ma'am.
Did anyone make you any promises whatsoever in exchange for this agreement?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And no one induced you into making this agreement?
No, ma'am.
Okay, you're making this agreement freely and voluntary, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Mr. Richmond, do you have any witnesses?
No, Your Honor. Proceeding
Okay,
relation and the youth's confession.
okay, Mr. Newman, anything else?
Nothing. Respondent rests as far as adjudication goes, Judge.
Okay. And we're waiving closings.
Yes, Judge.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Based on the competent evidence, specifically that Mr. Gutierrez swore under oath that all of the facts as read and alleged, as read on the stipulation of evidence and judicial confession and disposition agreement are true. That's what I'm basing my finding of delinquency on. Well, before I sign this, Mr. Gutierrez, I want you to understand that in making this agreement, you are giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
And so do you know what an appeal is?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so an appeal is when, like, if you had gone through and had a trial here or a jury trial, and you did not like the result, then you would have a right to file in your case in the Court of Appeals and ask them to review it, okay? Ask them to make a decision on your case as to what was done right or wrong or whatever here. And you are giving up that right by entering into this agreement today. The Court of Appeals is a different court, not this court, okay? There's a different court that reviews what was done at the trial court level. So you are giving up the right to have them review this case by entering into this agreement. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, the only way to get an appeal after this, you would have to ask permission for an appeal, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So you having waived that, I am going to go ahead and reiterate my finding of delinquency, and I have signed the agreement. Okay, we're back on the record in cause number 323-113-574-20 in the interest of Gutierrez. This is his disposition hearing in this cause, and the court will take judicial notice of the contents of the file as well as the previously conducted adjudication hearing. Does the state have any witnesses?
State offers petitioner's exhibit number 1, which is the social history.
Okay.
No objection to petitioner's 1. It's been previously
Okay.
tendered.
All right, then petitioner's exhibit 1 is admitted for all purposes.
State calls Selena Gear to the stand to testify.
Okay. Ms. Aguirre, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth in this cause of action today, so help you God?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Richmond.
Ms. Gear, what do you do for a living?
I am a court intake officer for Tarrant County Juvenile Services
How long have you worked in that capacity?
since December of 2019.
And have you worked in other capacities with the juvenile department?
No, sir.
And are you the supervising officer for Benito Gutierrez?
Yes.
Did you draft petitioner's exhibit 1, the social history?
Yes, sir.
And have you had a chance to interact with Mr. Gutierrez's family, do an analysis of his history, and kind of form a picture of his circumstances?
Yes, sir.
And have you formed a opinion of recommendations for his disposition?
Yes.
Can you describe what those recommendations are?
The department is recommending that Benito complete a substance abuse assessment and follow any recommendations made by the substance abuse counselor. Additionally, due to his mental health diagnosis, we are recommending that he participate in family partnership program.
What is the family partnership program?
It'll provide more assistance as somebody will, from MHMR, would be able to closely monitor him to ensure that he's taking his medication as prescribed, keeping his MHMR appointments, is following up on his well-being, making any additional referrals as needed.
And will you expect, with regards to, I guess, where he's going to be, that he will be with his family?
Yes, sir.
And what if kind of supervision plan do you have for him to remain, to get his rehabilitation in the community?
Just to follow all the recommendations made by his substance abuse counselor, if any recommendations are made, and follow any recommendations made by FPP.
Okay. And Daniel Zavala is his co-respondent, is that correct?
Yes, the co-defendant. Yes, sir.
Oh, do you see any reason why he should have contact with that individual?
No, not at all.
Okay, and the victim in this case is a stranger to him?
To my understanding, yes.
Also no reason for him to have contact with them?
Correct. Yes.
Do you have any idea of how the restitution will be paid?
Yes, we can set that up. I will email to get that set up instead of going directly to get that set up in person.
Okay. All right, those are the questions I have for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Very briefly, Judge.
Any questions?
Just briefly. Has Mr. Gutierrez maintained level 1O status in detention since May 11th?
Yes, sir.
Has his progress reports in the last 2 weeks been positive?
Yes, they have.
Has he been respectful to you and the other detention staff?
Yes, he has.
Pass the witness.
Anything else, Mr. Richmond?
How long has he been in detention? Or since when? Ms. Aguirre. Oh, sorry. You're looking it up.
All right. Benito has been in detention for 46 days,
And so he's been 1-0 for the past 2 weeks about?
approximately.
What was his difficulty in reaching 1-0?
There were some infractions for a physical altercation with a peer. Additionally, states here using inappropriate language a few times and arguing with peers.
Okay, was that a specific peer who he should be kept separate from?
No.
Okay. No further questions.
Okay.
Nothing further, Judge.
All right, may this witness be excused? Well, not from the hearing, but from testimony?
Yes,
Yeah.
Your Honor.
Okay. I didn't know, it's not like she can step down, right?
Right.
So virtually step down, I guess that's what I'll say. Any other witnesses, Mr. Richmond?
State rests at this time, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Newman, any witnesses?
Respondent rests, Judge.
Okay. And waive closings?
Wait for it.
Your Honor, just state recommends that you follow the recommendation as in the disposition agreement. If you have any, unless questions, that's all I have.
Okay. I do have a question. So, and it's funny, I can't recall from this morning at his detention hearing, did Judge Kim keep him detained just for purposes of this afternoon?
That was my impression, Judge.
That's kind of what I thought I heard him say.
I don't have notes to that effect. I
don't think he was that explicit, but he shook his head a little bit.
It was kind of the implication,
Yes.
right? And I'm out of respect, he's probably deferring to me, you know, on that. I think I recall what it was, Mr. Newman. I think if I was way off, that you're honest enough to tell me, that. All right, just let me take a moment to finish reviewing his social history report. Okay, I've reviewed the social history report. Court finds that Mr. Gutierrez is in need of rehabilitation and that his best interest and the interest of the community would best be served by following the agreement, which would be 2 years. I'm ordering 2 years of probation, a substance abuse evaluation and treatment. Mr. Gutierrez, you're to attend any mental health appointments as scheduled and take your prescribed medications. You're to participate in and successfully complete the family partnership program, and you're to have no contact with the victim with Mr. Ortiz. And Mr. Ortiz was not on today's hearing, was he? He did not attend?
I don't believe so, Your Honor.
Okay, I don't see him here. I just wanted to make a note of that. And that is why I didn't ask him to speak. I don't see him here. And then also you're to have no contact with Mr. Zavala. Now I'm told that you didn't know him. So I don't know what you're doing out. It kind of makes me nervous that you're running around doing things like this with strangers. But I can tell you, anybody that's going to run around with you doing things like this is not your friend. Do you understand that, Mr. Gutierrez?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm also ordering that you are to pay $100 in restitution to Mr. Ortiz, joint and several with your co-respondent, Mr. Zavala. So that just means that, like, if he doesn't pay it, then you're paying it all, okay? All right, did your attorney explain that to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, did your attorney explain to you what happens if you decide that you are going to, what could possibly happen if you decide to violate your terms and conditions of your probation?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you understand that you could be possibly be brought back here and maybe go to some sort of a residential facility outside of the state of Texas? Is that a yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, yes. And or you understand that you could possibly end up going to TJJD on this. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and so you're asking me and you've agreed to 2 years of probation, and so that's what we're going to hold you to, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
And it's not, I mean, you're a young teenager. You have a lot of teenage years to go, although it's going to go by really quickly. You don't have time to continue down this path, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
And I know I read your history report. Unfortunately, you've had it difficult. You have not had a very good example from your older siblings from what I can see, okay? But you have a grandmother who loves you. I think I see her here every time, okay? So she's not, you might be the baby, but she's not giving up on you, okay? So, yeah, I'm glad to see it's 2 years of probation because I really think this poor guy out there just trying to make a living. Okay, people shouldn't have to worry about being out there making a living and being approached and robbed like that, okay? It's gonna feel much better for you in a year or two when you can get your own job and you learn how to earn your own money, okay? That's gonna feel better than walking up and taking it from someone else who's trying to earn it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I promise you, if you continue like this, it's not gonna be just a matter of detention hearings, okay?
Yes,
All
ma'am.
right, let me see what else we've got. Grandmother's not employed right now, is she?
No.
Okay. All right, here's what I want to do because, wait, how far away from, this offense didn't even occur near his home, did it? I'm seeing he's in Lake Worth ISD.
Moment. Actually, it's pretty close.
Oh, is it pretty close? Okay.
It's like looks like a half-mile walk.
Okay. All right, Mr. Gutierrez, I'm gonna go ahead and release you, okay?
Okay,
I'm gonna go ahead and release you to your grandmother today.
thank you.
And I want to make it very clear because I'm concerned about, you know, maybe you think it was just a BB gun, okay? That you did. That just tells me that you're willing to carry a gun around, okay? And that you can still harm someone with that. And in fact, you did. So no more BB guns, okay? No more any kind of gun. Grandma, are there any guns in the house?
No, ma'am, there's no guns in my house.
No more any kinds of guns, okay?
not-
And I think I'm gonna follow along with like Judge Porter does. He always says, no, not even a Nerf gun, okay? I don't want you playing around with them whatsoever. And also, as far as the no contact goes with Mr. Zavala, that's gonna be no contact at all. Not on phone, not through a friend of a friend, not through a friend, not through social media, anything like that. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, so I'll go ahead and follow the recommendation as it is.
All right, Judge, do we need to deal with the DNA proposed order?
Yeah, I saw that in here. Mr. Richmond said he did not submit that. And so what are we doing with that?
And I think we're both in agreement that that's not appropriate in this case for the offensive disposition.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Mr. Newman, I didn't hear you. Go ahead.
I was going to say that I think we're in agreement that that order is not appropriate given the offensive adjudication.
It would have applied to the aggravated robbery, but robbery doesn't fall into that statute.
Right, that's what I was saying. So I'm just gonna, this is just gonna be scrapped.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna sign that because it's not, yeah, it didn't apply to the offense that he stipulated to. So, okay, then with that, we are finished. Thank you.
Thanks, Judge.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
So we need, back in juvenile, we need Miss Udu next. Yeah.
She's not in detention, Your Honor.
Oh, he's not? Okay, thank you.
No.
So
She
she-
was going to be Zooming. Yeah, she was going to be Zooming with her mother because they did not have transportation to get to the courthouse.
Okay,
So Janet was supposed to be sending the link to them.
okay.
and
They're not on. They haven't even asked to be in yet, so.
Yeah, and I haven't seen Janet either. I just shot her an email.
Okay.
So hopefully, let's see. And I apologize for this morning, Your Honor. I did not get notice of the hearing.
That's okay. It was a very, very hairy morning. We had a lot, all three courts were busy and not, not anything
Yeah.
was ready to go. Yeah, come on up.
Is that Tracy?
Yes.
This is our stipulation. She signed and emailed it back to me. The petitioner's exhibit 1 and then the
Okay.
discovery.
All right, thank you.
And I will get it into the base office right across the hall, and I'll see if she's present again.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Bell was just bringing me on the paperwork for your hearing.
I heard her. Yeah, this is my 5th hearing today.
Fun day after, well, I don't know if we can actually call them long weekends anymore, considering what's been going on the last few months.
Right? I worked yesterday though, so.
Yeah. Sometimes that's necessary.
Are we coming back into the juvenile courthouse next week like we are adult courthouse?
June 1st throughout the state
Okay.
supposed to be. So.
Okay. Yay. Judge, I'm going to call real quick and see if I can reach her by cell phone.
Okay, great. Go ahead. Thank you.
Okay, she's sending the link now and she should be on in just a few.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Ms. Perkins, do you see the child and her mother on here yet?
Mom should be logging in really soon. I just emailed her the link.
Okay, well, let me see. Ms. Abels, are you out there? Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you're here on judicial review on the NAPIC and Connell?
Yes.
Okay, so nobody for the department has logged in at all for CPS this afternoon. So I know I had something on that while I have you on here. I don't want to have you wait all afternoon. But since they did not appear, I will go ahead and just call them and we'll chat real quick and then I can let you go.
Okay.
Okay, so the court is calling cause number 323-110-289 in the interest of NAPIC. This was set for judicial review today at 3 o'clock. It is now 3:13. No one from the department has appeared, but they did submit a report to the court coordinator stating that the possessory conservator advised OCOK that she does not want to be a placement for any of the children's siblings. And the cause number that has been filed downtown this year. Did you know about that, Ms. Abels?
I did. Right after I sent you my other report, I found out she does want them, but she went 2 months without working, and to take another baby right now would just be, it's going to be too much.
Well, and the most disturbing thing for me was that there was zero communication whatsoever with everybody on the case in this court, that there was another child out there that had been newly filed on. That is a problem. Right. And so what I will do, now that I know what court it's in, I will let that court know, or I will have Judge Kent, one of us will let that court know that there is a previous case here, that these kids exist as well. And I can't recall, are you also the ad litem on that case down there?
No.
So
and Sarah's not the caseworker. It's in her unit, but it's not, she's not the caseworker. And they, like OCOK said, well, we contacted Miss Ward. She didn't want the kid. They never contacted her. I mean, until later, I mean.
Until I ordered them to, right?
I think before that, but after they put the kid in foster care.
Okay, that is a problem. Okay, now, do you know who the ad litem is on that case down there?
I don't.
So you don't, okay. All right. And so maybe if that court is aware, maybe they would be willing to place you on that one. I don't know. Because this is going to be really hard to keep track of the, the sibling, the way this is going right now, and that's not okay.
Right.
And especially if it's an issue where the current possessory conservator is only saying no, mostly for financial reasons, maybe that might change. So, but right,
yeah.
So are the siblings having any visits at all?
I think so. I think last week, here's what I know. I know to see the baby.
You know that what?
I know Christian went to see the baby. I don't know if she took Bethany and the other kid whose name has just now left me with her or not.
Okay. Okay.
No.
Well, then, I guess so what I'll have to do is just conference with the court downtown just to make that court aware of how hairy this is already.
Right.
So, okay. All right, so we'll handle that. And then on cause number 323-110-465, Ms. Abels is here on behalf of the child as well, but the department did not appear. They did submit a report indicating that the child was moved to a placement in Godley on Friday, and an investigation regarding another child in that placement resulted in her being moved to a respite foster home placement in Longview. So wow, so that didn't last long. The Godley placement is no longer active, and they have staffing set for this afternoon.
We had a staffing. The foster agency moved her without telling anybody. And that's the reason we had a staffing this afternoon, was because Sarah Benier's on that case as well. She and I were not happy. And so what we decided right now was to leave Ileana where she is unless a placement in Fort Worth is found.
So leave her where she is. And so right now, where is she?
I think it's Lovekin.
So on the last order, they were not to move her without an order from the court.
Right, but then there's a docket entry where you said it was okay.
Oh, that's right. They guys called because of this emergency last week. That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a whole lot going on here that I was not happy about. But the home they placed her in Godly had a girl in there that was trafficked, and apparently her family found out where she was, and so they moved Eliana, and then that girl ran away, but we don't want her going back to that home, and I think that home's closed.
Yeah.
But rather than move her, multiple times, we'd rather her stay in where she is if that placement will keep her, because she's just there on respite. If they will keep her, that's fine, unless we can find a placement in Fort Worth.
Okay. That sounds like the best way to handle this right now, because there's no point in bouncing around the state of Texas anymore.
All right.
Okay. We would not normally be set for another perm review for several months.
Right.
How old is this child again? Remind me. I don't have the file in front of me.
16.
She's 16 already? Okay, I'm probably going to want to see you guys sooner. I guess here.
We're having a discharge staffing. I don't know that I can explain why to you, because I'm not sure I understand why. But we're having a discharge staffing later this week, and Eliana is going to be on that staffing because respite's only 14 days, and a 30-day notice has been given by the woman in Lufkin, but she's considering keeping her. But the whole thing is, Eliana picked out a placement that was in Austin, and OCOK wouldn't place her there. They picked the home in Godly, and then she got moved from Godly, I think right away. I don't know how soon.
Yeah, it looks to me like it was pretty much immediately. So here's what we're gonna do. Because we're going back to normal court, live court on the 1st, then I just want everyone to come back in. We're gonna reset this judicial review because this is a mess.
Yeah.
This is a mess, and unfortunately, because of COVID, it's continued to be a mess, but I want everyone to appear on this one in 2 weeks.
Okay.
So I'll put that, and Stephanie will send that out. Okay.
And her mom is we think is getting out of prison next week. So we've talked a lot about how they've got to have visits.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be an issue as well, because we don't think the woman in Lufkin wants to transport, and she's going to have to help somebody, because they're going to have to be on weekends probably.
Yeah. How many more factors can we throw into this one?
I've probably forgotten some.
Wow. Okay. It's pretty bad when I don't have the file in front of me and everything rings a bell and I remember it all. So, okay. So look for this on the docket for 2 weeks from now. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Abels.
Thank you.
Okay. I will be right back in a few seconds and we'll start the next your matter, Ms. Perkins. Ms. Wiley, are you still on? That's okay. If not, we'll move on. Okay, so Ms. Bell, ready? There she is.
State's ready.
Well, Ms. Keenan Perkins, it looks like your client may be on, but they don't have their video. They're going to have their video on.
Yeah. Claudia, can you turn the video onto your phone? All right, looks like she's got the video on.
Can you see us?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Perfect.
Normally you can see yourself too. They can see us, so you're moving the camera different ways. All right. Let's see.
So we have a motion to modify on cause number 323-113-437. Is that the correct one?
We have the newest one is 323-113-437. That's the
Yes.
one that, yeah,
And that's the one that we're trying to motion to modify?
it's a petition.
Yes, Your
Yeah,
Honor,
it's-
adjudication disposition.
Yeah, it's an
Okay.
original petition.
I'm sorry, what was that?
It's an original petition.
Okay, for some reason on my docket, it says motion to modify.
Your Honor, I don't believe it is a motion to modify. I think it's an error. Previously, the case had been disposed of for DPP.
Mhm.
It needs to be
That's a
referred-
different case that has the DPP on it. I believe that's cause number 111867.
Yes, Your Honor. And so when it was referred back, I filed a new petition.
Okay.
On a new petition for the same matter.
Okay.
I do believe the juvenile is under the age of 14 as well.
That is true.
Okay, and so that's all I need now, actually. So I'm gonna have to, what we will do is we will end the YouTube live stream in the interest
Thank you.
of the child's privacy, which we are allowed to do under Texas Family Code Chapter 54. So just give me 20 seconds and then that feed will end.
Thank you, Your Honor.